the hump of it and gotten to this point. Because when it first started, everybody was scared to touch things and sit on things. And what do we wipe? What do we do? Well, should we wrap ourselves in bubble wrap? What do we do? You know, I mean,
But I say this also, Jessica. It's a good thing that we all now are getting a little taste of what Black people and marginalized people have felt for so long: racism. We're all getting a little bit of taste of that. Don't touch me. Get away from me. I don't like you. Move away. All
yeah,
these.
I mean, I can't believe that our society was so that they maybe some people didn't want to believe it existed, or it did, oh, it doesn't affect me, so I'm fine. Well, it does affect you somewhere, somehow. You know, just the HIV/AIDS epidemic, when that came around. Oh, I don't know anybody, but you do know somebody with AIDS. See, that's how that works.
Yeah. It's funny. Just for an example, when I see people walking down the street, even couples, and I cross the street, it affects them. And I know it affects them. And not that I'm even doing it at close range. I'm doing it at a distance, but I can hear them talking.
Yep.
And I know they're saying something about whether, oh, he doesn't, this and that, or whatever the thought is in their mind. But in general, when you look at it, it's putting us all on the same page in a sense of, you see, you've been treating these people, it says this meeting no longer has a time limit.
I mean, I just think that, when all this stuff, I'm so glad that, the George Floyd thing and, that was, all that stuff. I'm so glad that worked out the way it did. And, the police officer that, I mean, I wish people had seen when I'm sorry, I was rolling in pieces when they were sentencing him up the river, because the mask is here and his eyes were darting everywhere. He was like,
oh.
he was like, oh. I was like, yes, honey, you're going to jail. Bye. Yeah, so much luck.
So we're gonna thank you so much for doing the show today. You have a great, wonderful, and blessed Pride. We're gonna let Chad.
I don't know what kind of stores you have there, but you need to go out and buy this lip gloss, girl. Iridescent lip gloss. Woo-hoo.
I didn't put any on today because she keeps telling me to try to, normalize it. So this way you can send me the lip to what that lip gloss is. Chadwick, are you there?
Yes,
like
I
LA
am.
Colors. It's like LA Colors. No, Chadwick, you can't have this. This is fabulous lip gloss. Yeah.
Oh. I don't think Chadwick wears lip gloss.
Well, what the thing is I love it. Every now and then I would meet a gentleman caller back in the day when I was slightly younger. And I'm not going to tell you how old I told Chadwick. I said, honey, I'm a seasoned queen. I'm so seasoned, I'm freaking blackened. Just saying. And some of these boys who would come over and, I feel very gifted. I told him that been talking to a wonderful woman in Ireland, and her son is wanting to get in drag. And I feel so bad she's turned to me for all these questions. And I want to get a hold of the creator of that makeup group. And I love all those girls on there. And I'm constantly on there giving them my tips and tricks and.
Well, the good thing about all this is that we now have a platform where we can educate people about what we actually do when it comes to drag shows, how we paint, how we look.
And you know what I like about this is that group, I've not seen one hateful thing said, no backstabbing, nothing. It's all about, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? And everybody's helpful about giving each other tips and tricks and.
Well, the good thing else is that it's a good educational platform. People are hearing from people who have been doing it 30 plus years, who've been in this business and who's made a living. I mean, I'm sorry, 20 plus years.
Sure. Well, honey, I told people, I said, I came from the era when blue and green eyeshadow was my best friend. And I learned real quick that cover girl doesn't cover boy.
Oh. So we're going to have Chadwick tune in for just a second to
Yeah.
ask you a couple of questions, and then we're going to close off with
All right, baby.
fabulous Miss Jessica Montgomery, all the way from Indianapolis,
Yeah.
talking to us about Pride memories, where we should go from here.
And we need to send this to Ellen for the season 19. Yeah, just saying.
Oh, there you go.
What?
Go ahead, Chadwick.
Okay, I am going to condense my question because I guess this question is going to be for both of you. So
Right.
before I ask the question, I need to let you know where I'm coming from to give you this question. I started coming into the community late at the age of 25, when most people said I went to the bar when I was 19. Late start. I started performing when I was close to my 30s, and of course, drag was thrown at me by the homophobes. Oh, that's what you want to be. You're one of those girls. And at the beginning, I resented drag queens for giving me that image that I never created. And I said, one of these days, I bet you I'm going to be friends with one of them. I'm friends with a ton of them. And I realized what was going on. Outsiders try to paint me as the picture of what they saw on the TV screen, like you and Jessica and, you know, all the famous queens. So when I realized I wanted to be a performer, I wanted to be a male performer, but I wanted to do what drag queens did. They took the stage, they had that presence. Give me a presence of my own so that I can do something with it. I don't want to wear a wig and a dress. I know how to be me, but I wanted that advice for business people in drag. So now, with that said, next week is going to be my last birthday in the 40s. Next year is a brand new decade for me. Now, my question about that is, what kind of advice would an experienced drag queen like yourselves give advice to someone like me or younger than me who's just starting? What advice would you give to someone like me that's trending in the community and haven't fallen off the bandwagon? Because I could have sworn the day I turned 30, I'm done, I'm too old. I said, oh, damn, I'm almost 40. Okay, 40, that's a cutoff. I turned 40, now I'm turning 50. Okay,
So
so
now, are you talking about doing drag, or like what do you?
what I'm looking at reinventing myself as, like, right now I'm Mr. Karaoke guy, but people look at it as a show. I used to be a breakdancer way back in the day, in the early 80s. Then I went to be a Michael Jackson impersonator. And then all of a sudden, when the gay community came along, I became an entertainer of my own. So I was using my actual name as an image. So because I'm approaching 50 next year, I just thought, since I'm in a new decade, that's the best time to reinvent myself. But as what? Everybody sees me as that raunchy Jamaican dancehall boy, but no one's heard me sing love songs.
Right. Well, I mean, if you run karaoke, if that's your business, I think you could, try and incorporate something fun within that. Like we're funny, cute little outfits, and zhuzh it up a little bit. Just.
Well, I don't host it. I participate in it like everybody else. But when I've been doing it for so many years, some people actually try to pick me out of karaoke and say, wait a minute, you don't belong in karaoke. You belong on a big stage with a presence and making the money. I said, but this is what I do after I'm done work. I'm not doing it as work, but they make it a workable way, make some money. I said, if I start making money at my hobby, I'll probably end up hating it. I want to keep loving what I'm doing. So what can
Well, Chadwick, this is what I say, and it's worked for millions of people, and it took me a long time to get my head around it. But I really find that if you want to reinvent yourself, you have to do something that you're passionate about and focus all your attention on that passion, creating it, developing it, working it, doing it, practicing it, and just pushing it. And then you have to add a little glitter on top of that to get people's attention. And then if that don't get their attention, you add a little more glitter. That's what we do in drag. Our wigs can't get big enough.
Well, exactly.
Get big enough.
I saw that. Actually, one drag queen I saw and lives here in London always had the big hair and everything. And one day she shocked the hell out of everybody. She came with a very, very short thing. And it was like, who is that? We didn't realize it was the same queen that we've known for years. It was a whole different image. It was almost like she had the old 80s Halle Berry look. when we used to sing the Patti LaBelle here, and it was like, it was
Well,
a
yeah.
mine.
The good thing about what we do as entertainers and performers is that we love what we do. So if you love what you do, Chadwick, you will find a way to create and make that fabulous for your audience, because that's who you are and that's what we do. We are here to entertain, and we are entertained we love what we do. And when you love what you do, it will all make sense.
Yeah, because when you go on stage, when we go on stage, it's like a job. If you don't love your job, if you're not, you're gonna walk in that job looking like death warmed over. People are gonna ask you what's wrong. And when you entertain, you can put on all the acts, but people see through that facade really quick. When you hit that stage, you got to perform like there's 100 people in that room, and there may only be 5. And if you don't act like you're having a freaking good time, people will see it right here, and they'll be like,
You know what I call that? I call that the flight attendant moment. How many times have I sat on a plane and all I do is just watch the flight attendants and she didn't smile at him when she walked by, and it's almost like you're nitpicking at them. I said, is that what people do to me when I'm on stage? I'm sitting there in my seat, fasten the seatbelt.
Well, see, the thing about drag is I've worked in a lot of towns where, when I went to, Minnesota, there's a big drag bar, and let me tell you, I love the girls there that I met, but honey, if they think you're even remotely good, you are not getting past the first gate, because and I asked somebody what the deal was, and they said, oh, they're worried about losing their spot, okay, stop right there. If they are so worried about losing their spot, then maybe they need to step their game up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works.
Thank you. Some people have actually said that I am not a threat to drag queens because I don't do drag. And I said, well, I didn't come here to be a threat. I came here to love what I'm doing.
Who cares if you were or not? That's their problem, not yours.
But drag queens were actually at each other. It's almost like, it's okay to be here, but you know what? There's only one queen in that.
See, the thing I've seen, which it just hurts my stomach, where I've seen, because I was in this position when I started doing shows. I wanted to do shows. My mother took me to La Cage aux Folles on stage on Broadway. And I said, Mommy, do you remember what you asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up? She said, yep. And I said, that. And she's like, what? And I said, why do you want to do that? And I said, look at them. They're the glitter and the glitz and the applause. And I said, I want to be on that stage. And she said, oh, all right, that's what you want to do. I guess being a doctor's out, so over the years I did drag, and I put liquid Maybelline makeup on my 3 o'clock shadow and thought I looked the deal. And I had people dipping their napkins in their drinks and throwing them at me. Wait for it. Then they got creative. Then they took whole bowls of popcorn. Whole bowls of popcorn. No, wait. And then the final kicker was, and I think I told you this, Stephanie, was they would throw change at me on the stage, and that's the worst hateful thing they could do. And I thought, they wanted me to check my tail between my legs and run. And every Thursday at the Gong Show in Cleveland, they would gong me before I'd get on the stage. That's how So I said, I'm gonna teach these bitches a lesson. So the next Thursday I came, and they said, oh, here she comes. And they said, okay. And I heard that change tinging on the stage. I turned around, and what they didn't see was I pulled change rollers out of my bra and started rolling the change on the stage during lip syncing. And they're like, girl, she's rolling that change. And the owner of the bar said, of course she is. She's Jewish.
Well, that's the way to do it. You guys have been amazing today, and the conversation has been fun. And Chadwick, what are your plans for Pride? I have lots of virtual shows coming up and lots of things I'll share with you guys to show you. And a little bit, I'm in action in some of them. Before, usually I'm just sitting down or I'm talking. But now I'm moving around a bit, so things are going to be good. But we are here in Toronto. We're right in the middle of it now, and starting on I think it's tomorrow, starts all the shows, a lot of the virtual shows around town, and then by the end of the month, you'll start seeing outdoor shows where people.
Yeah, I would love to come. I would love to come there, or Chadwick's in London.
Come to London. I'm an hour and a half away from
See, I hate you guys, because I'm sure that's part of my fantasy bucket list. Like here, I had the good luck to go to Seattle, Washington. My friend #Molly, that's her drag name. her rich Jewish husband flew me first class. And just to show you how stupid I am, ready for this, I'm standing in line. You know how they get everybody on the plane and they do first class people first? I'm standing in line like with my thumb on my butt, and I turn to the right, girl. The sign that says first class passengers stand over here. I had to get out of line, girl. I didn't know what I was doing. Then I got first class. Here she comes with a towel on a pair of tongs. No, they told me the freaking towel was hot.
Oh.
I'm like stupid Jewish girl, you know. So I mean, I would love to come there and perform, because I mean, I don't know what those girls would think of me, you know, because I'm sure the London Queens are probably stunning, you know.
We're working on something now with the launch of Pronoun TV. We're going to have a big launch extravaganza. I'll tell you more about that down the road. We're working on it. And
because I didn't want to come back, because Seattle was wonderful. The bars were wonderful, the Queens were. I didn't want to come back here to India. I was like,
and we're gonna invite some of the guests down to perform and carry on and all of this. Jasmine Masters brought that to my attention, that I should do a big launch here, because things could be amazing if we do some kind of a big event of some kind. So we've been thinking about it. I've talked to my agent. She created something. I can't talk much about it, but she created a concept, and we're going to run with it in the next few months. But we need to wait until we get out of this pandemic, so that way we can make sure that we can get the entertainers here that we really want to have here, that can cross the border without all these restrictions.
Well, now the pandemic, they're doing all, I don't know about there in London, but here in America, you know, in the United States, they're doing all these crazy things. They're giving people free flights, and they're doing everything but give them a house to get them vaccinated. Just because they're, you know, I mean, it's crazy. It's like, girl.
Well, you know, so I want to end with you guys. I want to just say happy Pride, Chadwick. I don't know if you're coming down to Toronto, because, you know, some of the restrictions are lifted here. And so there's lots of people out on the patios and hanging around and stuff like that. And for you in Indianapolis, I'm glad that you had a great block party there, Jessica. And I wish you nothing but continued success in the world of artistry and what we do. Keep that passion, keep that drive. Don't forget about your community at the end of the day. And remember, always do something. Just do something.
My dream is I'm going to open my own drag store. You know, that's my dream. I want to do a drag store for the new girls or whatever. And I already created a concept name, which will remain nameless. I'm not going to give it away, but it's funny as shit though when I came up with it. And I figured when I get old and crinkly. And by the way, Chadwick, how old did Chadwick say he was?
I'll be 49 next week.
21.
Yeah. Okay. Now, of course, you're not supposed to guess a lady's age, but you know, peering through the makeup, how old do you guess I am?
I have no idea, because a lot of people look at me and they say, "You must be almost 40." I'm like, "You're close. Just change the 4 to a 5."
Well, and when I take off the 2 layers of spackle, and then the black tar number 4 around the eyes, and then take down the 1 layer of masking, you know, like on last Star Cruiser, they takes up the base with the rag. I'm 54.
Oh, okay. You're not that much older than me.
Well, it's all the bandages I pull the skin back to California. You know.
Actually, for me, age for me is not a look; it's a feeling.
Well, I mean, I was glad enough that at 50 something, I was able to win a title in 2017. In 2017, I won this title, and it was the first pageant that a friend of mine put together and said I should come do it, bugged the hell out of me to come do it, and I did it. And I only had 1 contestant against me, whatever. And I must say, I've never seen the theme was Pride, that was a costume, and I must say, I've never seen a Pride costume done with colored loofah sponges. Don't ask me where she got them.
Well, you know, you guys, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yes, baby, I love you.
You guys have a wonderful and safe Pride. Take care of yourself. Jessica, as always, you look beautiful. Thank you again, tuning in from Indianapolis. Thank you, Chadwick Chung, tuning in from London, Ontario. And here I am, Stephanie Stevens, tuning in from Toronto during Pride Month. we want to just say thank you guys so much out there.
And be safe
supporting
out
the
there.
channel. Thank you guys so much for reaching out to Jessica. If she's looking for bookings, she's looking for bookings. So add her on Facebook, YouTube.
I'll work at a diner for God's sakes. I don't care.
And Chadwick, of course, is the computer expert. So if you need stuff done, you can reach out to him. He'll help you out. Make sure that your computers are up and running fabulous. So if you ever find yourself in the middle of a crisis with your computer, reach out to Chadwick Chung. Until then, my friends, from Pronoun TV and the Stephanie Stevens Show, thank you guys so much. Y'all have a blessed week.
Bye, baby.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you to our audience out there. Have a great Pride, everybody.